so many human beings, this mind has become a misery manufacturing. Machine wants your attention. Machine. Wants it over control. Punish. Money for. Non-stop suffering human being. Suffering is not inevitable. Suffering is self-created. So you can make anything out of yourself. You can make joy out of yourself. You can make suffering out of music yourself. So we need to understand this. People are coming to conclusions. Limitations, for example, the psychiatry and other things, people like Freud, they have come to many conclusions about humanity, which are utterly nonsensical. And the sick people, they never got to study a Buddha, isn't it? They studied only mentally sick people. With that, they're making illusions about whole humanity. It's not so. So now, if you can create suffering, you cannot also create something else, isn't it? Do you see who you are? Whatever you may think, you are right. Your personality, your identifications, all these things are fine, but fundamentally, you're alert and listening to me. You cannot sit here as a man or a woman. You can only sit here as a certain life energy, isn't it? Yes, if you're aware, a man, I'm a woman, that means you're not here totally. Do you see your big identities just fall off so easily if you don't pay attention to it? They fall off if you get focused on something else. They fall off. So people are trying to experience this. Many ways playing a game jumping off a mountain. To such a point that they can forget all the other nonsense that they have created, yes. But none of these things couldn't you sustain for 24 hours of this? Certain activity, nobody can maintain that activity. 24 hours of the day. Isn't it any kind of activity? Whether it is playing or singing or dancing or music or love or meditation, you cannot manage it for 24 hours of the day. It's not possible, not practical, isn't it? So that means if you can create something for one moment, so you're able to create a certain sense of freedom from suffering for one moment. If you create one moment, can't you create one more moment? Can't you? If you create one more and one more and one more. That's the way you create your life. Fortune lumens don't come at you. In bunches, they're coming only one at a time, isn't? Are they coming in bunches, only one at a time? If you know how to make this moment blissful, you can live blissfully. Isn't it now suffering? Please look at it. You can see people are capable of suffering just about anything. Their well-being people are suffering their illness. People are suffering loneliness. People are suffering togetherness. Is it so people are suffering poverty? People are suffering affluence. Is it so people are suffering discomfort? Is it so? Comfort. Is it so they are capable of suffering? Anything so obviously they are creating suffering. Yes. If you look at yourself, this life energy which you call as myself sometimes has been very peaceful, sometimes has been joyful, certain so it's also all through all this, so it is capable of finding all these various expressions. So if it is capable of all this, if only it had little mastery over your life, imagines what your life more than talking suffering is inevitable. No suffering is not inevitable. Suffering is created if you are aware, if you take your body into control. If you just have little mastery over your body, at least 15 to 25, 30% of your life and destiny will be in your hands. Please see, just your body. Physical mastery. Is it so if you take mind into control? And to 60% of your life will be in your control. If you take your life energies into your control, 100% of your destiny will be in your control. The very way you live and the very way you die will be decided by you. The Eastern minds have also absorbed this in an oddly distorted way. Distorted way now. If you told your friend or your relative, I'm going to the ashram for 3 days, they would become very kind towards you and ask why. What went wrong? Something must be wrong with your life. You're going to the ashram to heal a wound, to solace yourself. Something must be wrong with your life. Are you Be too old for life. Otherwise, why would you go to an Assam? So, this has crept into this culture also essentially. If you are alive only in parts, or if you're partially alive, to be partially alive, to be partially alive is a terrible torture. Many of you have been through these science classes. And you opened up frogs and cockroaches, did you? They were nice, lively beings, but you opened them up because you wanted to find their heart and liver and kidney half alive, being half alive. Is torture, have you seen this? Always being half alive. Is torture, this is the torture that a large segment of humanity is going through right now because they're half alive. Only one part of them has become alive. Only their physicality and mentality has become alive. The rest of it is yet to become alive. Half a people will suffer everything. They will suffer education. They will suffer education. Poverty, they will suffer affluence. They will suffer being alone. They will suffer being in a relationship if they're not married. They suffer. If they are married, they say you don't have children. They say that it's not children. Are you suffering? But that also they suffer. Just show me one thing that human beings are not suffering right now. Just show me one aspect of life that human beings are not suffering. Yeah, now they're suffering just about anything. Not just life, they're even suffering death before it happens. That which is, and that which is not everything they suffer. You are not suffering loneliness. You are not suffering company. You are not suffering money. You are not suffering poverty. What you're suffering is you're half alive. You despair, trying to make yourself fully alive through money, through drink, through sex. Through going on a track, coming to the ashram, in so many ways, you're somehow trying to make yourself fully alive, which is yet to happen fully here and you feel a burst of aliveness, but again it happens down. So when people are constantly half alive, pleasure becomes an important part of your life. Very important part of your life. Without it, you cannot exist. Pleasure becomes paramount in your life. When you're only half alive, when physicality is all that you know, pleasure becomes of immense importance in your life. If you become fully alive, you will become so blissful, joyful, ecstatic without reason, bursts of ecstasy without within you, without any reason. It's almost embarrassing now. The thought of pleasure evaporates looking for a drink, looking for some kind of pleasurable thing, just evaporates out of your mind because you're fully alive. When you're fully alive, pleasure disappears. When you're half dead, pleasure is an important thing, you know. A Charles Darwin you heard of. Charles Darwin, 200 years ago, born but about 150 years ago, he said, oh, all monkeys, not me. I'm not saying that. He said that you are all monkeys. Your tail fell away. You were all monkeys. Your tail fell away. You became human. You know the story. When you were a monkey, you did not aspire to be human. Nature just pushed you on. You not choose, but once you become human to evolve from here on, you have to consciously evolve. Otherwise, there is no other way. When I say you have to consciously evolve, what you call as human is not an established state. It's a flux this moment. You can be godlike next moment. You can brute you have seen with yourself this moment you're wonderful, next moment you're nasty, next moment you're beautiful, next moment you're ugly. Is this not happening to you? So a human is not a being, he's a becoming, he's an ongoing process. Nothing is fixed. You can be whichever way you want to be. This freedom that you have, that you're not fixed like every other creature on this planet, if you're aware. This is the greatest benediction because you can make yourself whatever you want to wear. If you're unaware, this is the critical because humanity is right now suffering this freedom. Humanity is not suffering. Bondage, as people are saying, humanity is suffering its freedom. If your life was also fixed like every other gone about creature, you would have gone about without any stress. You didn't have to do. Your reason. Isn't it so? If your life was fixed like every other creature on this planet, you wouldn't be stressed. Only because it is not fixed, you can be anything you want. Anything, just about anything, can happen in your mind. This is why the stress isn't it. See, suppose a tiger is born. A tiger is not sitting and worrying how to become a good tiger. Just get enough food. He will become a good tiger. He's not worried. Will I become a good tiger? Will I end up as a house cat? No such problems. You born as a human being, but still how many things you have to do to be a good human being. And still you don't know where you belong. Isn't it only in comparison with somebody you can say, compared to this person, I'm little better by yourself, you don't know where you belong, isn't it so? Isn't it so? Because what is human is not an established state. It is a possibility. It is not a fixed state. If this possibility has to be made use of, there is a whole system of understanding that needs to happen, understanding the mechanics of how this life functions and what we can do with it, this mechanics, this technology, this science, we are referring to as yoga. You have heard of a word called Buddha. If I say Buddha, you always think of probably, you always think of the Buddhaka. Is not the only Buddha, that's not his name. He became a Buddha there. I've been thousands of Buddhas, and they still are what Buddha means is means Buddha or the intellect. The means D1, who is above one, who is above his intellect, is a Buddha once you're above the intellectual process. Suffering is finished in your life because all suffering is manufactured there in your logical mind. When you're an intellect, when you're stuck in your intellect, you're a non-stop suffering human being wherever you put. You have a way of creating some kind of suffering, your fears, your anxieties, your tensions, your stress. Just see, people are capable of suffering just about, you are capable of suffering just about anything. Yes, isn't it so? People are capable of suffering just about anything in the world. Please see. This is the nature of the intellect. Once you enter the intellect, this is how life is. If you are below the intellect, you won't suffer so much. Animals don't suffer as much as you suffer physical things. If they're taken care of, they're quite okay. They don't have the kind of suffering that human beings know, isn't it? So if you below the intellect, you don't suffer so much. You're above the intellect. You are a Buddha. The intellect may be below the intellect. The intellect may get only or will non-stop suffering. So to avoid suffering, people are inventing many ways to go below the intellect: excessive music, eating alcohol, and excessive indulgence in physical pleasures. These are all the ways you're trying to avoid the torment of the intellect. For some time, you get drunk and you wave, feel good for a few hours, but then life will catch up with you with more. It won't let you go. Now this being, which was below the intellect, somehow evolved into the intellect. The only way out for this is to evolve beyond the Indian. So the fundamentals of yoga, the technology, it's how to go beyond this. So how to do beyond this? So how to do it now? The subjective knowledge. In uncommitted atmospheres, you need a very committed, focused atmosphere. Otherwise, it will not be in your grasp. It's not a teaching. It's a method. To implement a method, you need to be in a certain way, in a certain level of commitment, in a certain level. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Otherwise, it doesn't work. See, now if you go into your chemistry laboratory, you take this chemical, you put it into it, to it. Something happens, but you put it into it, to it. You sit here and think and think and think and think and think. And think, what will this do? What will that do? You will come to all kinds. Wrong conclusions till you put it there. You won't know me. I mean, it will explode in your face, but till you put it there, you will not know what it is about. But now you are the chemical. You are the chemist and you are the experimental process. Everything is you now. You need a different kind of laboratory. Otherwise, it doesn't work. If it was objective, we could have just written a book and given it to you. But because a subject, you have. Every human being internally, all of us are equally capable. We are not capable in different ways. Yes, if you have been joyful for wow. Human being on the planet who's never been joyful, every human being has been joyful at some point. That means he's capable of joy. It is just that he's unable to stay there, so unable to stay there. So he needs he has to he has to how to atmosphere with himself and maintain atmosphere within himself and study that. What days? This question is from my first of all. I don't have days because the days are only in your memory. In your reality, they there only now. Isn't it? Yes or no? The problem right now is human intellect. See of all the gadgets that you have. He's looking into his favorite gadget. What? Apple or Samsung, you're okay? No. Because it's a religion. So I'm asking, it's almost like asking, are you Hindu, Muslim, Christian? What are you? Are you Apple's handsome or Blackberry? We're almost getting there, isn't it? So, human intellect of all the gadgets that you have, even including the Apple human mind, is the most sophisticated gadget on this planet. Do you agree with me? Every other gadget has come out of this, but we are busy looking into the iPhone, completely missing the eye. Right now, for most human beings. Let me not use the word most for too many human beings. Human beings. This mind is not a miracle. Actually, it's for so many human beings. This mind has become a misery, manufacturing machine. All the misery, human misery on this planet. Where is it manufactured? There is no your mind. That no should have been the greatest miracle on the source of misery for human beings, for human being humans. Why is this so? There are two dimensions to your intelligence. One is the perception. One is the penetration of your intelligence. Memory aspect of our somewhere your idea of being intelligent right now has become purely memory based tonight, today. Evening at the tea party, you don't have to know anything. You just have to surf the internet, pick up some facts about that 64, 64, 64 galaxy that you know about. You get some information and throw it around. People think you're smart because our whole idea of intelligence has become memory. Unfortunately, once you're dipping your hand into memory, your intelligence becomes very cyclical because it's recycling the past in so many different ways. It looks smart for somebody who doesn't know. Otherwise, it's just nonsense today. We know, goddamn chip can record more than your brain can record. It is not intelligence. Memory is just a resource. It is not an intelligence. That the nature of the intelligence and the purpose of human intelligence is that it should be able to penetrate. So it has got such huge background. The mind's lost its penetration. It is like you have a knife intellect and cut through anything but true. Oh, you have sticking now, whatever you try to sticking here. This is a big apple sticking to it, and it's lost its penetration. This is a tremendous loss that's happened to humanity because of the nature of education systems that we have crafted. So the fundamental process of spiritual process is to sharpen this intellect in such a way your memory doesn't not into such a influence you. Your intelligence is simply here. It sees everything just the way it is. If this doesn't happen to you, your intellect will become the source of your suffering. You will see educated people are definitely suffering more than the uneducated on this planet, isn't it? Much more suffering. The planet is suffering mainly because of educated people, not because of uneducated people. Yes or no, the very life of the planet is being threatened by the educated, not by the uneducated, because it is a completely memory based education. It is not intelligence based education. You need to shift this. If the education systems are not going to shift it as an individual people, you must shift as guru. If the creation is perfect and the creator has done such a good job on us, as you say, why is there so much suffering? In the word laughter, why do we need to depend on somebody's compassion to exist here music? So if creator had done a good job on us, why there is so much suffering in the world? Why we need to depend on other people's compassion and understanding to exist here? There happened once a little boy came home with a $10 bill in music Ohio. A little boy came home with a $10 bill. His mother asked. He said, I found it. His mother asked, Look, did you really find it? Are you sure? He said, Sure, ma'am. I even saw the man looking for it. Why is there so much misery? If this is a perfect job, it's such a perfect job, it's such a perfect job that it gives you the opportunity to be whichever way you wish to be. If creation had not given you the necessary opportunity to be what you wish to be, then there would be no possibilities, isn't it? Then there would be no such thing as liberation. So why create a bondage and then liberation? Why couldn't you be liberated? Then there would be no creation only because there is creation. Now the possibility of going beyond that. Now in animal nature and in other forms of life that you see around you every kind, there is not much possibility. The possible is just to survive, procreate, carry on. Yeah. And in Monday, because there is not much possibility, there is not much misery, either you don't see other creatures of the planet suffering like human beings. Their suffering is purely physical. You're physically harmed. In pain, they do not know the kind of suffering that a human being knows. Human being knows this suffering not because creation gave this suffering to you. Creation just gave you the freedom to make whatever you wish to out of yourself. You're making suffering out of yourself. Or a large population of the world has decided to make its suffering out of themselves. It is the choice. Physical realities sometimes are comfortable, sometimes are not comfortable. That is so we have even given the necessary intelligence to create necessary comfort for ourselves. That's not an issue really if we have no problem. Our problems which are the one. It's not a problem. We have enough problems, music, simply because this freedom, which should have been a benediction, has become a curse upon humanity right now. What human beings are suffering is not their bondage. They're suffering their freedom if you suffer your bondage. It's all right, but if you suffer your freedom, that's tragedy right now. And human beings are unfortunate. Lie suffering their freedom. This moment, you can make anything out of yourself. You can make joy out of yourself. You can make suffering out of yourself. What to do if 50% of the people or 90% of the people are choosing to make misery? Listen, no, it's not creation's fault. Just give you the freedom so that you can go beyond. Once you have come as human, you are not trapped anymore. Other creatures are trapped in their own instincts. Beyond that, cannot think you have instincts for survival. But still, you have the possibility. You have the possibility. Going beyond these instincts, if you don't choose to go beyond that, means still enough suffering has not touched you, because it's unfortunate in the world that very few people transcend. Most people have to be touched by Shiva. Then they will think of going beyond otherwise. No, I don't know if you're aware of this, Luke. You came early, but in India, if you tell somebody that I'm living in an ashram, they will ask you why, what went wrong, what wrong, what happened to your life. So they believe only after something really goes wrong, you'll the sham, okay, because most people's intelligence is such, because they kept the brains and sea storage, they think they use it in fear to use it. So they can only seek anything beyond. And for a better life next time, now you don't have to depend on anybody's compassion or understanding. The whole world can live under the umbrella of your compassion and your understanding. I would like to say that you stand up that way, that the world lives under your compassion, understanding your own passion, understanding. Live in other people's compassion and understanding. If you have any dignity, it's not that. That's how you should, isn't it?